Do we have a motion to open?
Move to open the meeting.
And do we have a second?
Second.
I'll do a roll call. Darlene,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and I'll also be yes. I can hear Bill's voice in my head as I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Let's do the approval of the minutes and get that out of the way. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yep, I did. I move to approve the minutes of May 7th, 2025.
I second.
I'll do roll call. Robert,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
and myself, Vicky as well. Yes. All right, moving right along. Great work. All right, next is we are fortunate to have Colby here. He is put an application in to be a full member of the ZBA. So why don't we start with Colby giving us sort of a background and what you would look forward to doing on the committee, and then maybe we'll ask a few questions.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thanks for entertaining me for joining the Zoning Board of Appeals. Let's see. So I get to make my pitch now, huh?
Yep.
Sorry, dogs.
Good timing.
Good timing. Good timing. Let's see. My background is in forestry, and I have a graduate certificate in GIS, Geographic Information Science. Um, I want to let me shut the door there. Sorry, it was so quiet. 1 minute. Oh, should be better. Okay. Everyone just came in the house. My apologies. Uh, Okay, so my educational background is in forestry. It's my bachelor's from UMass Amherst. I also have a JS certificate from Salem State. Um, let's see, I spent 10 years in a federal government for the USDA, working on the Asian Longhorn project, where we had an invasive beetle in Worcester. That was a regulated area. It was first quarantined, then it got downgraded to a regulated area. Um, and I've also my background has been in arboriculture as well, and I've done that since college, and that was as self-employment for well, 25 something years around there. Uh, Probably more if I think about it, but um, I was also um, in the military for 22 years, Army National Guard, where I served in several roles. 8 years as artillery, about 6 years in signal, and 5 or 6 years as an engineer. And I played. I served in many different capacities, from crew member up to a platoon sergeant. Um, and was placed in various positions, some of which I was trained for, some of which I was not. But it didn't matter. When they put you in a position, you you try and do the best you can with it. I served. I had two deployments as well, in Iraq and Afghanistan. Um, and now I'm actually a employee for the town of Townsend as a conservation agent for the Conservation Commission. Um, and I think I'm learning new things every single day. um, Many regulatory um, things that I pick up every day. Like just today um, I was revisiting some of the Wetland Protection Act regulations, and I picked up some new information about agricultural exemptions. So it's something new every single day. So And I'm always open to the idea of willing to being willing to what's a oh there was a good phrase I heard for it, but I'm gonna mangle it. But being willing to accept that I don't know everything. So I try to bring that idea every day to the workplace so that I can learn something. And if you do that, there certainly are new things to pick up all the time. I got off a little off course there. Sorry. Let's see. I think I have a strong attention to detail, um, and I know how to read bylaws now and code and regulations. Um, there's if there is an interpretation in laws and the Massachusetts Code of Regulations is what we use for wetland CMR, the Code of Massachusetts Regulations. So that's what it is. And it's there's certainly nuances in it, in interpretation, I should say. So I read them all the time, and I try to interpret them as closely as to the intent of what they were supposed to be meant for. Um, but I think that they can be uh, people with different perceptions of it are certainly going to see in a new light or a different way. So um, interpretation is a little bit important in reading these regulations. Anyhow, can I ask if you have any questions for me?
Why the ZBA? What attracted
yeah.
you?
Thank you. Yeah. So I've had a pretty young interest in it for quite a while. I've read a few books on it, mostly um, coming from a background or a perspective of land use and natural resources, um, and uh, and building towns and communities in a sustainable manner, and the role that um, and how to apply zoning law to do that effectively. Uh, that is uh, the main uh, uh, purpose that I've been interested in zoning law. Um, I get I do want to see the town of Townsend be effective and provide for um, uh, pedestrian life, a quality of life with a vibrant downtown area and a shopping areas, but also provide all of the other things that make a town competent, maybe, but to allow for agriculture, small and larger businesses, um, and zoning has a very important role in doing so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't really have any questions, but I'll make comment to that. What you're going to find, though, on zoning is we're one of the most reactionary boards probably of all in town, where we don't make bylaws. We kind of stay away from making recommendations of what they are, because that's the planning board's job and then approved by a town meeting. Because we have to uphold them, we don't want to be really too opinionated on them. So really, Beth helps us meet a little bit more, but we've never really met in the past except if there's a public hearing. So we're reactionary in that. We're not needed. We don't really meet. And then one of the things that I've found is helpful. So I got on the zoning board right around 1990. I want to say 95. It was somewhere around there. It might have been a little earlier. And I didn't even know what zoning boards did at the time. I was investigating. So I was trying to find out what was going on. And I was talking to the land use coordinator, and she picked up on my what's the what I was very interested, and I was like, wow. And she's like, oh, we could use a person. And I learned and went to meetings and stuff like that. But anyways, that aside, um, one of the things that we do repeatedly with applicants is people come before us and they have no idea really what they're supposed to present, why they're presenting. They just think, oh, if they like me and this is a good project, they're going to let me do it. And I've found myself repeating, letting people know, go, whether I like your project or not really has nothing to do with it. You need to answer A, B, C, and D, and I got to find it in the bylaws that it works. And most likely you're going to be able to do it. And then, the other boards have say and input through mandatory referrals. So it's kind of funny when people don't realize, well, we're not arbitrary. We can't be arbitrary. And I think that makes us a little bit different, like planning board, and like seems like the other boards can really get into the weeds a little bit more than we can, if that makes sense. I don't know if I worded that correctly. So hopefully you'll be able to reach your goal with that.
That certainly makes sense. Yeah, I certainly understand the adherence to what the laws are, bylaws, um, uh, and well, I see this in conservation too, as well, that they are there for a particular reason. They have to be upheld. But if there is ever an opportunity to guide, or
Mm,
I would like to offer advice as to how the town can be more, can provide more of a quality of life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Conservation is like, you got a setback. You got a 30, you can't go over that 35 feet or that 50 feet or whatever it is. So yeah.
Yeah, and some of the things sound arbitrary, and maybe they are, but they set up a minimum or a standard that has to be set, and that it has to be followed. And I think that's the end game that everyone has to maintain at least this certain end product, I should say, or a minimum standard of how things are done. And
Yeah, yeah.
I can separate myself from if I think it's a really good idea to do this, or if if it should be upheld because it is the law by
And you
law.
won't really see any conflict, will you? I mean, you're not like on the conservation committee, so there shouldn't be any conflict, right?
I don't see any conflict of interest,
Yeah, I don't either.
to be honest. Um, I could certainly, um, I see how things um, can result going down the road when they come down to the Conservation Commission. But being on the zoning board, I certainly separate myself from that, um, and would uphold what is supposed to be done for the zoning board.
I mean, on the off
That's
weird, strange chance, that there's some application that involves all the boards and you felt like it, then so you recuse yourself,
oh yes,
that's
certainly.
I don't
And
see it though.
yeah, and I don't have any business or financial um, um, financial reasons I foresee um, in any kind of mm, undertakings in the town. Um,
I don't either. I
Yeah.
think your background would be great help being on the board. It's nice when you have somebody who has like a little different understanding and some different background, and then you work together and everybody can figure it out. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I can see like a mental conflict. I have an example, but I would certainly be able to separate myself. So
That's right. Someone
recently,
else
a
can
property.
remind you if it shows.
I guess this example gives an idea of how rules and regulations don't work well together, coming from different perspectives. So there was an A&R that came across my desk recently where property was separated and it had adhered to the zoning board regulations for frontage. The frontage laws on the road, were perfect as far as zoning goes. Um, and there was just about enough frontage for each property, the minimum amount of frontage. But in doing so, it forced that new property to go through a bordering vegetated wetland, which is a wetland. Um, yeah, and that was the only way that the property could be built on. And I can see, coming from my conservation background, that doesn't work well. That's kind of an arbitrary area that, creates another issue down the road. But but it would be, um, it would apply to the zoning law perfectly. Um, and I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I would realize that and understand it. So I hope that explains an example that would just cause me a mental quandary.
Robert, any questions from you?
No, I think your background is good. I think having somebody with conservation background on the committee would be good. Like Darlene was saying, some additional input on certain issues, things you might ideas you might come up with depending on whatever case comes in front of us, especially because we're the Board of Appeals. We're not people come to us because they don't exactly fit the regulations. So it's always an interesting thing. But again, like Darlene said, when we make our decision, we have to be very careful of, well, I'll call it the legalese of the decision, because if the person applying doesn't like what we decide, they can appeal it and, say, no, we were out of our jurisdiction, or we were whatever, too petty or too whatever, opinionated or something like that. So it's kind of a fine line between, like you said, oh, this is an interesting project. It would possibly be a benefit to the town, but there's these other legalese issues that you just gotta make sure you delve into and understand and understand the consequences actually for both sides, what could happen. So that's really it. I look forward to working with you. As soon as we have something to.
Yep. So, so why don't we move, would someone like to make a motion to recommend Colby to the selectmen for the open
Yeah.
CBA position?
I'll make a motion to recommend to the selectmen to appoint Colby. And we do that just kind of, I don't know, it's not a requirement. It's a selectman's job, but it's just kind of nice for them to hear that, we met you, we talked to you, that kind of thing. And so that said, that's my motion.
And we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Darlene,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and I'll also say yes. So thank you very much. So Colby, thank you for stepping up. So what happens next, Beth?
I was just going to ask for you to vote to allow me to sign his request for appointment form as the designee from the Zoning Board of Appeals, that just sort of basically the form says that, we're requesting appointment to for Colby as a full member, term to expire June 30th, 2026, and he's filling the unexpired term for the former member, Bill Cadigan. So if you just allow me by vote or by, however you want to do it, I'll sign
Why
and
would
submit
we
this.
take a vote on that?
It's just, the way the form is filled out, it says signature of the board, committee or commission chair, or designee. And I'm just saying, if you want that to be me, I'll do it and submit it, and hopefully the select board can get it on the June 3rd agenda. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
it doesn't hurt. I move to allow Beth to sign the form.
All right, thanks.
I second that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, good. That's all. And then the only other thing is.
Oh, wait, no, we get a vote.
Oh,
Yep.
go for
Yep.
it.
Darlene,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and I'll make it unanimous as a yes.
No, we've had in the years past, we've had John Page, I don't know if he's still practicing, but we've had attorneys who understand, land use and all that on the board. Bill was an engineer. We've had some experts that
Hmm.
really knew some background. So it's yeah, come on, Colby, you're it's been really helpful. And when you don't have it, you're like, ooh, we got to ask somebody a question.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited about this. I appreciate it. So
Right. Yep. So I
very
guess,
interesting.
Beth, once we get the approval from the Board of Selectmen, you'll contact him to get sworn in, and
That will be Sabrina. She'll take care of that. So our job is,
So is that effective immediately if he's filling Bill's slot?
yes, he can be
Sure.
sworn in as soon as the select board makes the appointment. And if I can get them on June 3rd, that can be as early as June 4th or 5th. So that'd be great.
Sweet.
Perfect. Yep.
thank you. All right. Is there any correspondence for us to go over?
I think I just put one thing in there about the public forum on June 14th. The planning board is trying to reach everybody in the community regarding a marketing survey. There's an economic development grant, DLTA grant, that the planning board is working on with MRPC. It's the first time that it's been this, specific area of questioning. It's all we really want to, spread that news far and wide. There's a QR code for the survey, and the public forum's on June 14th, which is a Saturday. So that's what I got. So please share.
Sweet.
All right. Any upcoming ZBA meetings expected in June?
Right now we have an application filed, but I am waiting on the fee to move forward. So yeah, I will contact you directly, Victoria.
Well, okay, once we get that. All right. Anything else?
I have one suggestion. So in the past, we picked Wednesdays just because it was best for our land use person and everyone on the board. I would just put out, maybe Beth could do this, put out to everybody and ask what nights of the week work best for you guys. And they don't
Okay.
have to be Wednesday nights, and
Mhm.
maybe a Thursday or whatever. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Mhm.
Just
Sounds
because
good.
Bill's done something like that in the past doesn't mean you can't alter it.
True.
That sounds good. And
Great
then
idea.
I know I had one suggestion from the chair to, hold public hearings in person so we can, look over plans, or you can look over plans and meet the applicants. So that's on the horizon too. Have a hybrid, so.
Mhm.
Mm. Good.
All right.
All right. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
You're well trained now, Robert. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well,
I'm getting good at it, yeah.
Darlene,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and I also say yes. Thank you very much, everyone.